Why Tower Fantasy failed in China? Let's react to it.
Tower Fantasy quickly become one of the most hyped game on 2022, currently gathering 3 times more viewers than Genshin Impact.
Okay, this doesn't really matter. You know why? Because it is the hype phase. It is the beginning. When a new game releases, it always gets so big on Twitch and the Steam charts are off the charts. And yeah, that's pretty normal. But after a few weeks, after a few months, the player base will deteriorate and so will the viewership. It is normal. Like this example doesn't really matter at all.
On Twitch, with multiple big YouTubers also covering the game before it even released, I think you will be surprised.
And I also watched this too, but I can't remember his name.
That this game is actually not very successful on China, which is where the games come from. If you look at the popularity chart on Billy Games, which is sort of Play Store for China, you will see that Genshin is pretty much always on the top. By the way, the rank 1 is only there because the game will be released tomorrow. I assume it will drop down very quickly after a while. If you are curious about the game, I will showcase it tomorrow on my channel. It's a rather interesting game. Back to finding Tower Fantasy on the popularity chart, you can see a lot of familiar titles such as Arknight, Azure Lane, Minecraft, Fate Grand Order.
Jesus Christ, Fate Grand Order. This game is cursed, man. I don't want to touch that shit ever again.
Honkai Impact 3rd, and many other. But Tower Fantasy, it's not found. It's not even in the top 50. When you search up the game, you will realize the downloads for Tower Fantasy pales in comparison to big titles. For example, Genshin has 189 million downloads, and Tower Fantasy only have 11 million. Arknight has 225.
Bro, it just started out, so you can't really take this seriously. It is normal that they can't reach the same downloads after just a few days in what Genshin did in after like 2 years.
Honkai has 145 and Punishing Grey Raven has 70 million. This is weird because the game is not bad, so what is actually happening here? In order for me to explain what happened, we first need to understand this, the social credit system. Remember this meme?
Bro.
Well, it's not really a meme because the social credit system does exist in China. It's a system that judges your worth based on what you do. If you do good things, you get points. If you do bad things, you deduct points. Just like how the government judge the citizens, the gamers also judge the game. Not just the gameplay or graphics, but also the social responsibilities. There is a nickname for Tower Fantasy in China. Tower Fantasy in Chinese is called Huanta, but the nickname is called Tota. I roughly translated it to Tower of Death. This comes from that one Tower Fantasy promotional video for Meryl, which they steal Honkai Impact weapon asset, as shown here. Once they realize people are not actually stupid, well, they remove it. Another one comes from them plagiarizing an animation video made by a small Japanese creator. As evidently shown here, you can see there's a lot of similarity.
Damn, it's basically the same. Holy shit.
It got on so bad that even the original creator tweeted a complaint on Twitter, and of course, Tower Fantasy apologized by blaming it on a third party. Okay, fine. Promotional video are typically
okay, that can be true. If you outsource that stuff, maybe some people who don't really work in the company and are like somewhere else in the fucking world and just send it to you. Maybe that's the reason and they just stole it. It could be, we don't know.
Source. So they can blame it on third party. But what about that one time where they copy Genshin 5-star reviews using a bot? So what you're seeing here is the review for iOS for Tower Fantasy. So before this happened, there is a very game-breaking bug happening on Tower Fantasy, which makes people review bombing Tower Fantasy and made it go down to, I think, 3.1 rating. And yeah, it's pretty bad, but suddenly the rating gone up to 4, and naturally the people feel something is not right, and then they went on check the 5-star review.
Yeah, Genshin did the same thing. Me as a huge Genshin veteran, I know like the entire history of that review bombing shit which Genshin underwent through, and they also used bots to regulate that shit a bit. But yeah, it's a nasty process, man.
Guess what? A lot of review are pretty much done by bots. As you can see, there is a comma and a dot. This is because it's made by bot, which is why every single comment has this thing. And why is copy from Genshin? Well, this word is actually Yoimiya. in Chinese. And
Oh.
I didn't know Tower of Fantasy has Yoimiya. Okay,
Nice.
fine. Maybe the bot is not made by the official. Maybe someone else made the bot just to screw Tower of Fantasy. It is possible. So let's leave that aside for now. Let's talk about in-game. So about this move. I don't know if it's heavily inspired or straight up just they ran out of creativity. Guess what? Honkai has this move as well. Pretty much exactly the same, except for a little bit of difference in the visual effect.
Bro,
Yeah,
like those sword swings, like they're so generic, it doesn't really matter, man.
and it's up to you. There's
Like imagine if I copy a right to left swing from some other game. Like, bro, it is just a right to left swing. Like this is just such a standard combo. You can't really copy it or patent it stuff, man.
There's also a lot of weapons have a lot of similarities in Honkai. Is that copy or is it heavily inspired? I don't know. Are they just lazy, not making their own unique weapons?
That's true. With some examples, that's true. That I think they just straight up copy that shit, man. Like that's true.
I mean, it's up for debate. There are also a lot of servers issues during the launch of the game.
That's
there are
normal.
like maintenance for every single day during the launch of the game. There are game-breaking bugs that I said just now that
Yeah, people can change, like if you teleport somewhere else, for some reason I just got like big, like really big, and I was just a giant on the map. Like it didn't make any sense, but it was kind of funny, man.
make the game got 3.1 rating on the Silly
Happens.
Game Store, and I'm gonna slightly explain what the bug is and why a lot of whales actually left the game because of the bug. This is quite a long one, so bear with me, okay? So the first bug happens when people realize you can use another device to force login while you are completing a transaction on the first device, so you can get double the currency you paid for
Oh.
with this method. And then eventually people realize you can also use this method for dungeon reward as well. So people start to get insane gear by just keep refreshing the dungeon by logging in from another device. And you know, in Genshin, you have these artifact system where you have a lot of variables.
Yeah.
So you can get like 5 lines of damage or you can get 5 lines of health. Well, Tower Fantasy have that too. And people
And now you get 2 times the chance or what? That's insane.
are using this bug to pretty much keep on resetting the stats. So what happened is a lot of people get insane gear by a very early game. I mean, people don't really have to grind every day to get those artifacts that has the top tier stats because they can abuse this bug. But of course, Tower Fantasy went on an emergency maintenance, and their solution is to prevent you to log in on a second device if you already logged in somewhere else. People who abused the bug before are banned. Not long afterward, people realize another bug again, which you can get unlimited SSR weapon. So I wouldn't
What?
get into how they do it. Basically, they have something about messing with internet connection and the game client. They could like claim the item and then turn off the internet connection, and then after they turn back the internet connection, they will have another SSR weapon.
Yeah, I don't want to get banned. Like for real. I was thinking about it, but I'm not gonna do it because even after like a few weeks, your account just get banned. Your account just gets banned for duping and shit. Like I did that back in the day in many different games, but yeah, it's not worth it. Like it's never worth it because someday we will catch you anyway, and when you lose everything, just grind it normally. Like, come on.
Weapon, something like that, right? So turns out some people started to have all the weapon without even paying for the game. And of course, all the whales are really angry because people spend money to pull, but some free-to-play player just got them for free. But of course, after Tower Fantasy found this out, they do an emergency maintenance again. They close their server down and then do a repair, and you can kind of imagine what will happen here. The whale are angry, the players can't play the game because there's constantly maintenance. I mean, the bug of this game is very, very plentiful. Like, they fixed the bug, but then after the maintenance is over, people just found out another bug and they have to emergency maintenance
Yeah.
again. I mean, it's funny
It is what it is, man.
because after the server repair, people found out another way to dupe the compensation over and over again, and people even started to use cheat engine to duplicate rewards. And
Cheat engine. If your game isn't safe against cheat engine, I would reconsider life choices, man. like from a developer side, like holy shit. That's it. Like even though this game still has an insane amount of potential, I play it every single day. I think it's great, but they truly need to fix that shit immediately.
And you have so much bug that sure, some people might get banned, but there evidently some people just didn't get banned and enjoy all those free currency. And even mentioning the bug or whatever on the chat, the in-game chat, will get you a 1-year mute. And there are players just talking about it, not even like abusing the bug or anything. They got muted and they cannot talk in the game. A lot of people just straight up disappointed in the game. Whales are not happy. They want a refund for the game because they spend money, but then this is what they get treated for. Some other guy don't even need to spend money. They get all the stuff. And yeah, the game has a lot of problems during the launch of the game, and that caused a huge wave for people pretty much just left the game. They make videos complaining about it. People know about them and people are disappointed. Even not talking about these game-breaking bugs, there are still a lot of minor bugs exist in the game, such as you can float by doing something, I don't know. And for the China version of the game currently, there is a Battle Royale mode. And guess what? There are a lot of hackers in the Battle Royale as well. So leave the technical things aside. There is also a very fundamental design flaw of the game, which is the game, although being an MMO, is actually quite pay to win. Now, the pay-to-win aspect of the game...
Yeah, that's like I was completely expecting a full pay-to-win MMORPG, but to what extent and how that works out, that's a different question.
It's not very apparent, but the power creep on Tower Fantasy is actually very strong. Power creep might be fine for game like waifu collectors or majority single-player game, but it is not a very good thing.
Yeah, in Genshin Impact, it doesn't really matter, bro. I'm so done with Genshin, man. I played that game every single day since Tower Fantasy release, but holy shit. A game with so much potential and is itself, with the core mechanics, it is so fucking great. But the decision to not include some kind of endgame where you can use all that shit you have gained and get a new challenge, which is not fucking Abyss because you clear Abyss once a month. And after that you quit Genshin. There's nothing to do in that fucking game. And that's why I'm so disappointed. Because that's a game which has great potential, but it wasted it completely. I gave it 2 years and it still didn't do anything. That's it. That's fucking sad. And I have my hopes high with Tower Fantasy that this game will have at least some kind of decent end game where we can raid together, get progress, and do the shit, man. Do something when you're done with your journey.
To have on an MMO that have PvP, where pretty much strength.
Yeah, and PvP is also great, man. Damn. I don't know how you can implement it in Genshin Impact, but that's a tangent that's irrelevant for this video. I'm sorry.
Everything. And if you are a free-to-play player and you want to keep up when they keep on introducing power creep, well, guess what? You cannot keep up. It's just impossible to keep up. But actually, the most important reason why Tower Fantasy is not popular on China is actually because the game itself. The game actually pulled a lot of Genshin player toward it because it has a lot of similarity with Genshin. And believe it or not, they actually advertise themselves as the Genshin Impact killer. I mean, the post is already removed.
Bruh.
Because of how stupid it is. Once they realized they posted it, they also
remember the WoW killer, like all the WoW killers, the MMORPGs which were supposed to dethrone World of Warcraft. Like, yeah, every single one of them died. Oh, yeah, true. And the only game which could kill World of Warcraft was World of Warcraft itself. What a sad story.
Say it's like the game award winners, like, oh my god. A lot of controversy, but let's forget all about the controversy. Let's forget all about the bugs and the pay-to-win aspect of the game. The game is not polished, and I think this is actually the main reason why Tower Fantasy is not popular, because this game is so similar to Genshin Impact, and
Genshin Impact is hyper polished, man. It's insane.
Genshin Impact has a huge player base, and a lot of players from Genshin go ahead to try Power Fantasy, realize, wow, Genshin is so much better. They drop the game. I mean, if you play the game, you'll realize the combat just feels cheap. The world is actually not bad. I like the world in Tower Fantasy, but the combat just doesn't feel polished. The 2D characters design is also not great. I mean, I play a lot of gacha game, waifu games. A lot of games have fantastic art, but Tower Fantasy, I feel they lack a lot of appeal. And it's such a shame because they
some kind of a personality is a bit missing, yeah.
really are high by
Like Genshin does character so perfectly. Like in that department, they're just unbeatable.
budget game.
What I care about is the gameplay right now. That's a completely different story where I have fun playing the actual game. That's the thing. Polish can come afterwards.
Why not invest more into the character design? I'm not sure. Basically, the social credit of Tower Fantasy doesn't look so good. So my prediction for the global version of Tower Fantasy is pretty much the same. People are currently getting hyped for the game because this game shares a lot of similarity to Genshin Impact, and Genshin player will try the game just to realize the game is not as good as Genshin. And it's not Tower Fantasy's fault, honestly. It's just because Genshin is too good. Genshin is too ambitious, and other company simply cannot compete. Don't take this video as...
Imagine if Genshin had raid bosses, man. Holy shit. If it had some MMORPG elements, holy shit, man. It would be top. It would be my #1 game.
Me telling you not to play the game.
Like Genshin has extreme goods, but it also has extreme bads. If you know what I mean.
Honestly, still enjoy the game. Try it out and see if it's for you. But I'm just here to inform you what happened over on the China side. The revenue for Tower Fantasy currently on China is...
Wait, Azure Lane is on 12th place. Holy shit.
Is honestly growing. I mean, not as good as it used to be, but for a gacha game, they are doing alright. Although I'm not too knowledgeable about how much money they are spending to maintaining the game, they're earning about the same as Arknight, even though it's a little bit lower.
Damn.
So yeah, that's about it. Peace.
It's good. What it feels to spend real money on Tower Fantasy. I'm gonna watch it in private. Like you don't want to see that shit, man. This was like the first time I saw this game, I saw like Asmongold playing it. Like it was fun. It was fun. And yeah, I guess thank you for watching. If you want to see more of my shitty opinion on video games and react to a bunch of shit, then you can leave a like and subscribe, I guess. Yeah. I guess see you next time. And yeah, Wafer out.